am so torn between these two different paths, like very opposite, right? Very, very different paths. One, like what I know, what I'm really well renowned for, established in, and can succeed at. Or the other, which is like freedom to choose. And I don't know, like uncertainty, but freedom. So which do you choose? Oh, good morning. Well, this is different. This is a place called Paronella Park, kind of in the middle of nowhere in North East Queensland. You know, it's a beautiful day. It's early in the morning, it's crisp and cool. You can't always be said for Far North Queensland. Just go and have a walk and have a chat. Let me show you around this place. This place is bananas. And one of those beautiful things about travel is how you can just stumble upon, or at least do your research and find these incredible places that are so different to anything you've seen or could possibly imagine. Oh, look at this bamboo grove. This is absolutely crazy. And Jose Paronella, who founded the park back in, I think, 1929, definitely like late 20s, early 30s, basically like immigrated out from Europe and had this vision of creating a castle and a waterfall and a tennis court out here in the middle of nowhere, and set about doing that. Like the grove of kauri pines that we went through back there, I think he planted them in like 1933, right? I mean, those things take hundreds of years to grow to full size, so he knew when he did it that it would never be ready in his lifetime. But he had this vision for something that he wanted to create that was bigger than him. And so he did that. And now you can see it's absolutely extraordinary. Imagine in like another 100 years, what that thing is going to look like. It's just boggles the mind. Well, the property was bought in like 1929, and I think Jose paid something like £120 for it back then, which was probably the equivalent of about $5,000 in today's Australian currency. And yeah, I mean, he had this vision of creating a place and just sort of set about getting to it. Ended up planting 5,700 different plants here, many of which now are mature and fully grown. This was the first place in Queensland to have hydroelectric power. 1933, he installed a turbine on the waterfall, and lo and behold, had power. You know what was the first thing that he used the power for? It wasn't to light the house. It was to put some lights on the waterfall so that the guests coming here would like get a bit more of a spectacular show. So what a visionary, huh? Like uncompromising on the vision. That's truly impressive. I've got like a little conundrum that I've got at the moment. Not exclusively mine, it's like mine and my wife's, because we've worked together for many years, so we're trying to work out what our next step is. And you know, we're doing this trip around Australia for 6 months, 12 months, whatever it might end up being, I don't know. And we're trying to like figure out, you know, what we might do next, because we really want to have control over our lives. We don't want to be beholden to anything, be able to make our choices, you know what I mean? Like nothing's worse than when you're not in control of your own life. But anyway, like there's this program that I've been supporting for like the last 7 years. Like I helped create it. It's a scholarship program, like big Australian scholarship program, like the most prestigious. And I helped to design it, I helped to build it, and I spent like literally 7 years trying to make it the best that it can be. And anyway, right now there's this opportunity to essentially run that program. There's a tender, right? So we're in this process of like trying to pitch ourselves to actually run this program. And it's a funny thing, right? Like I'm so torn between these two different paths, like very opposite, right? Very, very different paths. One, like what I know, what I'm really well renowned for, established in, and can succeed at. Or the other, which is like freedom to choose. And I don't know, like uncertainty, but freedom. So which do you choose? It's really about, you know, one option is continuing with what I've been doing for the last 20 years. You know, keeping on down that path, doing what I know and what I've done well, and what I've succeeded at thus far, and the opposite, which is stepping into the unknown and really trying to design the life that we want, like my wife and I really want for ourselves. Because, you know, that the first 20 years, these last 20 years have been amazing, but it's forced us to stop and consider, like, is that what we want for the next 20 years or for the rest of our lives? You know, like running our own business, we worked every weekend for 10 years pretty much. And, you know, I've certainly worked through every holiday that I took, no matter where that was. So, you know, is that something that you really want for the next sort of 15 years, whatever it might be? And don't get me wrong, like, I'm not afraid of hard work. I love to work and I love to contribute and what have you. But I don't know, I kind of also have this feeling like there's something else out there in life just waiting to be discovered. And now's a good moment. You know, this COVID thing has just created this explosion and has given not just us, but like so many people a chance to reevaluate and to start afresh. And it's one of those things, I guess, you know, just because you've had a good experience for the last, you know, 10 years, the last 5 years, the last 12 months, and it's been positive, should you settle? Should you stop at that point and be like, yeah, this is good enough? Early edition of the morning walk. And if you joined me for that one, it was called The Grass is Always Greener. If you were already with me at that point, thank you so much, because you'd be one of my earliest walking companions. Anyway, like the grass is always greener. The grass will always be greener somewhere else. But it's pretty fucking green right here, you know? So it's like, at what point do we choose to settle and choose to say, like, this is good enough for me? And I'm really torn, like, that's our decision right now. So, you know, I've helped create that scholarship program. I've helped shape it. It's what I know. It's what I'm good at. It's what I'm known for. But maybe it's not everything. Maybe that's not me for the future. What do you reckon? Help me out. Hit me up in the comments below. I would really value your advice on what to do. And so how do you make a decision like this? Well, the first thing, I guess, is like not to be influenced by the past to some extent. I mean, the past is important. It should help give you some ideas, but you need to be really aware of your own biases, your own, the things that have influenced you, because it's called sunk cost. It's a really strong psychological bias, and basically it's like once we've put energy and time and effort into doing something, it's a sunk cost. It's something that we don't want to see to have gone to waste. So like the temptation is just to always continue to build on top of what we've already done. Even though that might not be the most ideal scenario. It may have been good, but was it the best? Was it your vision? You know, were you chasing your vision to be a crazy guy? You know, like Jose Paronella. So you've got to filter out that sunk cost completely. And once you've done that, like, I guess you've just got to choose, don't you? At some point you've just got to say, well, either I'm taking this path or I'm taking that path, and just commit to it and just go for it. Because ultimately, like, time stops for nobody. And the more we just dick around and hesitate, the more likely we are, like, just to end up in this kind of purgatory in the middle where we haven't really committed to one path or the other, and we're unsatisfied because we're not actually heading in any direction at all. So at some point you just have to choose and just go for it. So whether that's like sticking with what you know and continuing to pursue that and doing that to the best of your ability and sticking with the green grass, right? The green grass, which is pretty fucking good. Or whether that's like fully committing to the other path and pursuing that and never looking back and going for that thing that's better, knowing full well that you could end up like running into a brick wall or falling in a deep puddle in the mud. I mean, we don't get to see what comes at the end. So all you can do is commit and go 100% and hopefully pursue your vision, right? Because ultimately, if we pursue our vision, we have a chance of creating something that can truly last. A legacy. Handful of thoughts this morning. Thanks for walking with me. Like, I really appreciate you hearing me out on this. It's what I really need right now, because I'm torn. But I won't be torn for long. And I will let you know when I decide. Whatever you're getting up to today, I hope it's an awesome one. And I'll see you next time on the morning walk. Thanks for joining me. It's a beautiful day.